Hello and welcome to Navigating to Success. I'm Jeff Carlton, certified focal point business and executive coach. Really excited today to have Jeremy Holloway, the founder and CEO of Tellegacy. Um, Also doing some stuff with Dakota Geriatric Workforce Program and the university up there. So welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so um, I think we're going to focus on Telegacy, but I'm sure we'll touch on. I think what you're doing bleeds over into that. So tell us about Telegacy and what you do.
Absolutely. I heard about older adults that were dying from social isolation and loneliness around March 2020. And when I heard about that, I said, I want to do something about that and created an intergenerational program. So Telegacy is an intergenerational program connecting university students or volunteers with older adults who may feel socially isolated and alone, or they just may want to some engagement, and they would just want to engage in conversation with someone in the community or someone virtually or over the phone. So we are a training program as well. We provide that training for volunteers to meet with someone and have that intentional conversation. At the end, we give them a legacy book that summarizes the stories that the older adults share with the students. So the older adult receives a book that really reinforces the fact that their story matters and their story is one to be told.
That's a fantastic concept because there are a lot of people that are suffering in silence. And when you talk about March of 2020, I don't know if y'all remember what was going on, but those were that was the beginning of the dark. That was the sunset on a long dark period in around the world, honestly. So hats off to you for starting it. Um, so how big are you? How many employees?
So we consider ourselves to be a startup right now. And what we do is license out the program. So we don't actually need as many employees on boots on the ground, so to speak. So, for example, we've licensed our program to universities, nonprofits, Meals on Wheels, where they hire folks. They've received grants. There was a Meals on Wheels that received a $77,000 grant for just running the Tellegacy program. So they hire folks uh, to do the program, and then we have a lot of different partners that help in a lot of different ways.
Oh, that's really cool. So, um, are you local? Are you national? What's the geographic boundaries?
National, we're national, but I just got off the phone with someone in Alberta, Canada, who's interested in the To Legacy program. So who knows? Could be international pretty soon, but national right now.
And you started this all up in North Dakota in Grand Forks. How long did it take you? How long ago did you start?
Am from Ohio, so we started it was 2020 fall in Toledo, Ohio. And then I made the move when I became a professor at the University of North Dakota around 2021, the summer. So we've been going since then, since around fall 2020. It's been sporadic in the beginning, and then it's grown over time. But like I said, we consider ourselves still to be a startup, really want to scale and utilize the partnerships that we have, especially it seems that area agencies on aging and Meals on Wheels are have been great partners.
Yeah, I think COVID really brought the elderly, I won't call it, it's not an epidemic. I mean, we're all going to get there, right? But they were kind of overlooked and brushed aside. So this is really fantastic work that you guys are doing. How consuming is it for you? I mean, does it swallow you up whole or?
Well, so I teach a lot on cross-cultural communication, but really communication is makes time relative. It makes everything relative. The way you understand something, the way you communicate to yourself, the way that you reflect. Reflecting is so important for anybody trying to do anything, like any project or a business. You want to reflect a lot because It helps give you a bigger picture of what's happening so you don't get overwhelmed or anything like that, and try to bring some people on board that can listen to you, listen to your story. Because yeah, having a business or having a program is not, I mean, it's not easy, but it can be really fun because you're exercising a lot of things that I think we're put on this planet to do anyway. So,
Yeah, it is rewarding to, I mean, that's why uh, I got into coaching is I figured out what was missing and is I missed working with people and seeing them accomplish their goals with just a little nudge here and there. That's what gives me great satisfaction. So I really appreciate where you're going with that. So I want to circle back to what you said about the storybook that is a result of these intentional conversations. How does that go? Is it a recorded conversation and
mhm. Yeah, so it's recorded. Now, the way we started it, we started it with like giving students, or at least suggesting the students have a notebook or, write down as many notes as they can, bring their laptop and now we have so many, so much technology, so many apps that can record the conversation, synthesize the conversation, summarize the conversation, that it makes it easier to then compile that information. And then we take it to that next step of creating a book and sending it to the older adult for them to utilize. Because I think that some generations, for some generations, we're like, yeah, everybody knows that this tool is available or that's available or that's available. But the truth of the matter is, no. Like, there's some tools, there's some things that came out 20 years ago that we think everybody is that knows about, but some generations aren't and might not be. So anyway, we utilize tools to give to the older adult a legacy book that's a hardcover book.
yeah, well, and that bleeds into my next question is how much did it change in the last 12 to 14 months when AI kind of hit the bricks?
Yeah, I started to notice that the students' notes were a lot more synthesized. And actually, the interesting thing, because it was I knew that there was AI, to and everything, but I didn't think about telling the students about it. But then I started seeing their notes and I was like, they're using AI. And I thought that's good. The only problem was that actually it made their notes too long because they just utilized AI to just make this whole long, summary. And I'm like, well, actually, our books are a summary of the stories that the older adult shares, not like a memoir, So it's just again communication. Like, and for us, we don't say don't utilize it. We say here's how you utilize. Here's how you need to utilize it. And actually, that's what should be done when we have these new tools that come out here in this world anyway. It's like, no, don't escape it or don't just use it for everything. Here's how you utilize it if you utilize it for everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the process, watching different companies, different entities and organizations and individuals learn how to use AI, work with the prompting, um, and develop their own internal processes. And as soon as you think you've got it down, it's evolving again. So it's really the wild, wild west. And it's um, you can get into a whole bunch of ethical discussions about plagiarism and where is it coming from and how much of it is um, BS because it's pulling from a bad source and how much of the human touch are you losing? You know, how much of the color and in the fabric of the story that those people are telling is getting lost in the machine.
Yeah, the AI is kind of interesting because it's evolving kind of quickly too. So, for example, even just a couple of months ago, they're used to the references and citations, if you asked it to give it, would be kind of off or you couldn't really find them. But now they're pretty much on, and it's getting better and better. It's good, and in some ways, it's kind of reinforcing some good behaviors when it comes to writing and different things like that. But I think it's important for those that created it to those people or those teams need to have a handle on those kind of just so we know what are people getting taught. You know what I mean? We have to watch
Yeah,
out.
and so there's an ethical responsibility for how you use it, but there's an ethical responsibility for how what it's populated with.
Yes.
Um, because it's just like a kid. If you teach them the wrong thing, it will behave badly.
Yes. Yeah, and you
And
won't even know, right? It's just
and
doing what
Chat
it's
GPT
about.
will behave badly as among any of the other ones as well. So let's talk about scalability. You mentioned that. Um, where are you going? What do you think you look like in 2 to 3 years?
We want to be the go-to when it comes to curriculum and training for all healthcare staff, and then all staff. Why? Because we also want to redefine what training actually is. I think a lot of times training is a box that you check. Really, if most
ND.
people that's what they think of. When I say training, I mean an opportunity to learn how to utilize how to value the culture that you're going to be in, and then how to bring in your culture and how to nourish and make valuable this culture that we're creating. And I'm not talking about race, gender, right? I'm talking about business. A business is culture, what they're about, and what they're going to actually. Because I think a lot of businesses they don't even really take time to think about what they want to be about. What do people think about when they think of this business? A lot of people use the word branding. They use the word, trademark or whatever, and your brand, but your brand is your culture too. And so like what's the culture? What are people going to be thinking about years from now? I want people to think about Tellegacy in the sense that they helped rehumanize the training process. They rehumanize healthcare, rehumanize my experience at work, where I don't feel like I have to be a totally different human being at work than I am somewhere else. And I can be myself, and I'm valued for being myself here because they know why I work here and they like it, you know.
Yeah. Now, I appreciate you bringing up the culture part because I do a lot of strategic planning, a lot of works with. I've done planning with nonprofits. I've done planning with all kinds of businesses and the military. And culture should drive branding, not necessarily the other way
Mm,
around.
wow,
You'll
that's good.
you'll make money and be successful if you have a good, solid culture and everybody really paraphrase what you just said there is, are they defining their why?
Yeah.
And did they articulate that message of what they're doing? Because if their sole purpose is just to make money, it might not be on the landscape for very long. It's got to be more than that, in my humble opinion. I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
get eaten up in the comments on that one, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
well,
That's what you get what you pay for, folks, and this is free.
no, I agree because and the why is so important. The why drives the culture, and how are we communicating the why, and how are we letting other people's whys into our why, right? So that's the dynamic of a culture is it's not only the founder's why, but the founder is letting that is has made a highway from the employee's why to the founders why, and now it's our why together. That's a culture, right? Sometimes the why could just be one way, right? And the employee just is only, it's like it's those pyramids, like where, the one thing about a pyramid that's not as good in the business structure is that they're really good at talking about like the why of the company, but they almost consider themselves to be like this robot, a part of this big organization or something. It's like, no, 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 no. That's not a culture, right? A culture brings in other people's whys and their backgrounds and perspectives. And somehow it all unites and makes this beautiful culture that other people want to be a part of too. So that I think is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it goes back to core values because I usually I make them. um, come up with what their core values are. Do you have a set of core values that Legacy uh, marches to?
Yes, yes. We value authenticity, transparency, community building. You know, these are the largest ones. You'll hear other words, of course, go around
Sure.
like social connection, all those kind of things, humanizing an experience. But really at the end of the day, we want people to be themselves, right? Around people that are
Yeah.
different from them. And we think that's really important. And leaving a legacy like that is great.
No, I think what you're doing is incredibly admirable work and much appreciated, and I think it was much needed. And there was a gap in our society to simplify and not try and come up with too fancy of a word um, between the generations because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn. So, well, Jeremy, thank you very much. That pretty much takes us to the end of our time. Any parting shots or website? How do they find you?
Yeah, they can find me at jeremyholloway.com and they can go to Tellegacy, Tellegacy .org, and they'll find all information there. Connect with me, stay connected.
All right, folks, for everybody, this was a great business journey explored and a lot of other things along the way. Really cool, great conversation about culture and doing things that matter. So, thanks for joining us. And Jeremy, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
And we'll see everybody on next time on Navigating to Success.